Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska, zone 5B, and today marks my 1 year of doing these YouTube videos. I'm actually off by about a day, but I'm still counting it as a year. So you can go all the way back to the beginning of my channel. 1 year ago today, I did my first garden tour. And it's kind of interesting to see how this year's garden compares to last year's garden, because there are some things that have done so much better this year, and there are some things that have just thrived last year. So to see those differences is pretty much why I started this YouTube channel. I wanted some way just to remember the garden, because I could write it down, but there's something about that visual reference that is absolutely fascinating. But I was gone last weekend, and of course, that was when all the tomatoes decided that they were going to start to ripen. So I've started getting buckets of tomatoes, which is super exciting. There are still a lot of very big green tomatoes left on all the plants, and the peppers are really starting to come in. But I'm going to show you the garden. It only seemed right that I started you out with this corn that for the longest time I wasn't 100% sure was actually going to make it. But holy cow, has it gotten huge. It's taller than I am, and I'm 4'10", so it's about 5 feet tall. And it's got corn silk, it's got tassels, so I think we're gonna get some interesting looking popcorn this year, and I'm gonna have my corn decoration. So that's pretty exciting for not having taken care of this at all. Like staring directly at the sun just so I can prove the fact that I am shorter than this corn. This was a project just to make sure that the slope of this hill, this dirt, didn't slide down, and the fact that I'm actually getting something off of it after not fertilizing it, not worrying about watering it, it's kind of amazing. Let's start over on this bed. This is the bed where I have the massive zucchinis, and like I said, I was gone this past weekend, and oh my gosh, the number of zucchinis I came back to and the size of the zucchinis was terrifying. I've gotten through maybe 2 of the massive zucchinis, and I still have 5 more to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do with. But the fact that I have all that food in abundance is thrilling. Some of these peas seem to have come back, which is interesting, because as you can see the ones that have died back, and you can see the runner beans that have been trying to take over since the peas have died. This is the first of my eggplants, and there are quite a few on here that in a couple days I think we'll be ready to harvest. I've been getting a ton of eggplants, and my thought is I cube them up and put them in pad thai. So we'll see how that works. I think there's a giant pepper in here. Holy buckets of bologna. That thing is massive. I think I might be able to get it better on the other side. You can kind of see it in there. That is a full-on white bell pepper. So that's exciting. I've never managed to get them quite that big. I've always had to pull them a little bit early because they started to get sun scald. But I think this year, I've said it so many times in these videos, but I think this is the year of the peppers. Now here, I did plant some patio tomatoes, but those have not come up. So I think maybe in the next week or 2, I'll put in some daikon radishes. I'm not sure what happened to my experiment of the wet paper towel and seeds. I might have managed to kill those seeds, but you live and you learn, right? I haven't harvested anything out of this bed yet. This is some of my Roma and Roma style tomatoes. So they're going a little bit wild. I mean, at how tall they are. And then once again, the pepper plant I attempted to start here did not take. So this might be another spot for some daikon radishes. One of the spots I'm going to do probably the hybrid daikon, and the other spot I'll do the traditional daikon. But the pepper plants themselves have just taken over the bed. I even have, here's the thing about pepper plants, is trying to get in there to show you stuff. My habanadas, and then I should get over here and harvest some of these natapenos because they are looking big and ready for stuffing. And I'm sure there are a ton more in here. I haven't even checked the ahi yet. This is the ahi mango. And this is the first year I've been growing this one. Yep. We got a lot of green babies in there. And as you can tell, the butternut has taken over the carrot bed. So I should probably get in there and try and pull a bunch of carrots and maybe can some carrots. That might be this weekend's project, just to see what I actually have in this bed, because it is very hard to tell. And of course, we've got all of the tomato plants, and like I said, I've been harvesting quite a few tomatoes, and as you can see, we've got a lot of very big tomatoes on there. The tomato plants at this point have gotten a little wild because I have not trimmed them, because like I said, I was gone and now I've just given up trying to tame them. But the onions are completely buried, and you can say the exact same thing about this bed over here. Wild tomatoes, buried onions. Before I take you to the front of those beds, I do have to show you. Now, in the past, the zinnia bed has just been covered in zinnias. This year, we did not get a lot of them to germinate. Not sure why, but we do have this little lily bud. It'll probably open later today, and it was open yesterday. And it's such a gorgeous flower. So I was happy to see that one blooming. And you have these kiwi plants that I have to make sure don't climb into the neighbor's yard. But I have never seen the vines this healthy before. Okay, let me take you back around to the front. So as I said, the tomatoes are taking over, but the beans in this bed are doing pretty good. I need to dig in there and see if there's anything ripe. There probably is, they're just buried in there. And we have a few that are still holding on and thriving over here, but not the whole row like on the other bed. And it looks like we have some ripe tomatoes, or ripening tomatoes. What is that? That can't be the Dr. Witchies, but I think it might be. It's hard to tell which tomato plant. No, okay, so that is actually the plant next door. Okay, I'm not even going to attempt to say that. Because I'm like, the Dr. Witchies doesn't have the purple shoulders. So those ones will be a purple shouldered yellow tomato. I keep thinking that it's time to harvest the potatoes, but look at how healthy these potatoes look. I can't bring myself to dig in there because holy cow. they've gone a bit crazy. Much like these guys. I'm actually going to take you to the back because the onions right here, I don't think they're going to bulb up too well. I think they're just getting choked out. But the onions back here and the grass I need to pull out of the onions are doing well. I did harvest one of these for dinner the other day, and I am getting a lot of these cherry tomatoes now. And then we got more of the Roma style. Still haven't gotten any of those, but these banana peppers are the reason I came to this side because they are massive this year. I've already harvested like 10 or so about that size. Once again, I might have to just pick a whole bunch and preserve. This banana plant is just doing its thing and it's amazing. And we've got some of these variegated peppers coming in, and I'm sure there is more buried all around in there. We have got this massive sunflower plant still doing its thing, but like I said, we have sunflower looking heads, so I'm less worried about it being a weed. And then these variegated peppers have pulled through. It looks like the butternut has lost a blossom. I haven't seen any fruit forming on this one yet. Oh, nope, I lied. You can see it right there. So this must be the butterkin. So it's gonna look like a pumpkin, but tastes like a butternut. And here's where I tried for my third planting of okra and failed for the third time. I put in some garbanzo beans. We'll see if those come up. I didn't realize that they are 95 day to maturity. And I think we've only got like 86. So we'll see. And Sunflower Alley. Might just be as pretty as it was last year, so fingers crossed. I think I should take you to the in-ground bed for all the squashes. The potted peppers. Oh, I got a really ripe one there that soon I think it'll be fully ripe and I can pick that. They are so sweet when they're fully red. I got another one there. That tomato plant, I just let it keep going, but I'm not getting anything from that. So we've got a butternut here that there are probably 3 or 4 fruit on. And then we've got, this is a orange pumpkin variety. Have not seen any fruit on this one yet, but a ton of very pretty flowers. Here we've got the candy roaster, which you can see there's a fruit right there. And if it fully takes, I'm gonna have to find a way to keep that propped. Here we had some tragedy. I had a squash vine borer get into the pink banana pumpkin squash, whatever you want to call it, and took the plant out. So I have some cowpeas planted in this spot that I'm going to let intermingle with the candy roaster if they come up. They should. I've always had pretty good success with cowpeas. And of course, we've got this zucchini plant, which I've gotten about 5 off of at this point. And then the giant volunteer ground cherry plant. I'm going to do a quick pass of the in-ground tomatoes because you can kind of see they are a little scruffy looking. I've had to do some very hard pruning on these ones, which is why the ones in the bed haven't gotten a lot of pruning, because I've been focusing on this area because there has been a lot of bacterial fungus growth, and I'm trying to keep these plants as long as I can, but I don't think they're going to make the full season. I have gotten a lot of tomatoes off of these plants though, so it won't be a total loss when they have to go, but I still have my fingers crossed. We are still getting some strawberries, and the chive plants are looking phenomenal. You can see some of the beetle damage on the peach trees though. It happens every single year. They haven't been decimated, so I'm kind of just letting it happen. And then you've got the other ground cherry, which is the one I planted, and it's huge and it's sprawling. And then we've got another one of these tomato plants that I'm fighting to keep alive until these ripen. Part of me wonders if I'm going to have to force ripen some of these. But these are looking really, really good and really, really full. And since it is aroma, it should happen all at once. And then I can pull the plant. Here's my other section of pots next to the honeyberries. Once again, the tomato isn't looking too good, but the basils are looking okay. Of course, these ones over here have flowered, and this one is half flowering. But the basil back over here is usually where I harvest from, because they haven't really gone to seed yet, except for now that I look at it. These ones are starting to. This is another potted tomato plant that isn't doing the greatest. I'm learning that I'm not the best at potted tomatoes. If I want tomatoes to thrive, it usually has to be in a bed or in ground. I just don't have the right oomph, apparently, to keep potted tomatoes healthy and happy. Finally, I'm going to swing you around here where we've got my green onions. The butterfly pea looks like it's gotten a little bit bigger. So the fact that this tomato has completely taken over might actually be helping that plant right there. But I might have to think about pruning this guy. I think this is a black beauty, and I'm like, oh, it's in a bag. It'll like manage itself because it's only got so much dirt, but apparently not. It's gone wild. It's a bush. It's a tomato bush. But you can also see that these tomato plants have gone wild too. Because I mean, they're all cherry tomatoes, so I should have figured at some point this would have been a disaster. And here we are. You can see a few of my runner beans just in there, but mostly tomatoes. I do have a few of the garbanzo that are holding on, and I think now that the tomatoes have created this shade, this environment that keeps it damp, these look so much healthier than they did before. And these tomatoes are even starting to push out the calendula. Got this random, here, I don't know if you can see it, random lettuce that is going to seed. And the pine berry have completely taken over the ground over here. I do want to put stepping stones in here to get to the pink bed. So some of these are going to have to be transplanted at some point. Here we are. I can't even get in there to show you. This is the strawberry spinach, which the flowers on that is gorgeous. I did use some of the celery last night in a tuna melt stuffed zucchini, which was wonderful. Still need to pull out the flowering spinach though. Who knows if I will before the end of the season. But the Brad's Atomic Grape tomato is living its best life right now. As is the strawberry plants over here that are creeping away from this massive peach tree. This peach tree is doing well, and that peach back there, still hard, but it should be there soon. Something about this area is just, it's good right now because look at this eggplant. There is a cluster of fruit there, and then if you come around, there's a cluster of fruit there, and you can see purple everywhere. So we're in eggplant season. And even the rogue tomato plant is starting to sprawl. Still no fruit on it though. And finally, we've got the blueberry bushes. Still trying to bring the little one back to where the big one is. And then we've got those potted tomatoes that I think I'm going to leave here and not put back on the porch, but we'll see. And with that, that is the garden. I do have to say that today has been one of the nicer days to do a garden tour because A, it isn't raining, and B, it isn't ridiculously warm and humid, so I am thankful for that. Though it is the reason that all of this is as green and as lush as it is this time of year is because we have gotten an influx of rain almost on the daily. It's almost like we're in spring again. I think we're supposed to heat up again next week, which I'm not looking forward to, but I am thankful for what I have and what I have produced so far. And if you would like to follow me on my journey and watching how this garden grows, subscribe down below, hit the bell, do all the things to get all of the notifications. I am also on Instagram and Threads if you want to follow me over on those platforms. I post a little bit more regularly, almost daily at this point because of the harvest coming in. I like to take pictures of things that I find fascinating and kind of post them over on those two platforms, so feel free to follow me over there as well. But with that, I'm going to go inside and get myself a tall glass of cold water and edit this video and get it out to you so you can watch it. And I do hope to see you again in another video. I heart you beautiful faces. Bye.